Hi everyone, welcome back to Creatively Crafted Life. This is Melanie, and today we are going to be continuing along with the paper storage, and this time we're going to focus on 8.5 or letter size paper. And you can see here is that I have my collection of colored cardstock in these two rows, and I probably have some sort of paper in here, I think. I'm not sure. So for the most part, this works really great, and what I have are individual colors in these pockets. These are job ticket holders from Avery L. I got the idea from the queen of organization, Jennifer McGuire, so nothing new there. The problem I have is when I'm looking at it, I have a hard time seeing the individual colors, and while they're labeled, it's really hard for me to tell what is what. So I'm thinking I need to add some sort of sample or tab that sticks out a little bit more to help me with that. I'm not exactly sure, and that's probably why I've put this off, is I don't have a solution yet. So basically I'm presenting the problems and then we'll see what I come up with. I also have in the front section here a number of different envelopes and stuff that I use for storing my white cardstock, and of course, as everyone knows, you have 50 million different types of white cardstock for different uses. I put most of them in these kind of envelopes because it's easier for me to access, I find, than this. So because I'm in here all the time, I want ease of access. This is still easy, but not as easy. I also have Stampin' Up! For the majority of this. Then I have some NFT, some Gina K, and the color, so it's sorted by manufacturer instead of color, and I think I really just need to do it by color instead. And then towards the end here, I have some specialty paper that gets lost, and I don't even know what I have, so I need to come up with a solution for that as well. One of the things I am thinking about are, excuse the disorganized mess, I have these bins here hanging on the wall that maybe I can add those white envelopes into. That might just make it a little bit easier. I'm not sure. Obviously then I'd have to do something with these, but they're always looking junky, so I'm not happy with this anyways. So that is the task for this week. Let me get thinking about how I want to accomplish this, and I will take you along for the journey. Okay, so I've gone with plan B. I've decided I don't like those containers I have on the wall for my most used papers, so I'm going to make a literature organizer or a paper organizer. It's one of those cubes with the shelves, you know, something that looks like this, and I'm going to make it out of foam core board. Now I've never done this before, so we're going to see how this turns out. Sorry for the bad angle. I will take photos of this from all angles and include them at the end of the video so you can see exactly how this looks. Okay, so there's the unit. Fits in the shelf perfectly, and you're probably wondering why I just didn't buy one, and it's because I needed it to be a very specific size with as many trays as I possibly could. I have certain papers that I use all the time, and they will just be better suited in a tray where I can quickly pull them out instead of in these pockets. I did try moving them over here. I don't like it. I think it's because these bins are slanted. If they were straight up and down, it might be a little bit of a different story. So these items are going in here, and I have all my colors, but I also have this stack that I have to sort. Some of it's specialty paper, which I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet specifically. And I also need a better way to access the colors. Let me go back to show you and let you know what I'm talking about. So I like the pockets. I like that I can pull it out, put it back in. What I don't like is I have the names and they're really small, and I don't have them in any particular order. I could do alphabetical, but it's kind of a pain. I mentioned earlier I used to have them sorted by manufacturer. When I added this, I mixed them all in. So I've got mixed manufacturers now by color. So I'm thinking I want to test this out by adding these tabs at the top, and what I'm going to do is number, and it's going to be basically I'll have like pink, red, orange, yellow, green, turquoise, aqua color, blue, purple, and the neutrals, and within that there'll be a number assigned, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to reference the number. So I have sample rings of all my 8.5 by 11 cardstock. I used to be a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator way back in the day, and I used to do classes, so I had a lot of inventory when I stopped being a demonstrator. And I stopped being a demonstrator because I was moving from Canada to the US, and I had very restrictive abilities as to what I could do for work when I first moved here, so being a demonstrator was no longer an option. But I kept all of it because, you know, I still make cards, but I find I don't make as nearly as many, obviously, if I'm not teaching classes. So I have more than enough cardstock to probably last me the rest of my life. So what I have done is I've put a ring together, and I have samples of the paper along with the name and the brand. So what I'm going to do, or what I think I'm going to do, we're going to give it a try, is I'm going to label all the envelopes like I mentioned. I'm going to follow the order that they're in here. So I will assign this a number 1. On the label I'll put a number 1, and then the next one will be this one, etc., all the way through. And these I keep next to me anyways, because usually when I'm looking for a color, it's hard for me to go and look the way I have them stored on the shelf. So I'll just come here, fan this open, find the color I want, and because I have it out anyways, having the number just makes sense. So I think that's going to work. The tabs I'm using, I'm not sure if they will work. So I had one sample tab out there on the file just as a test. So these are the tabs that I bought. They were relatively inexpensive. And the reason why I bought them is because of the colors, right? So I've got red, orange, yellow, pink, blue, green, aqua, right, purple. Here's the thing, they're repositionable, which is good in most circumstances. I just don't know from a long-term perspective how well they're going to adhere to those envelopes. You could add some like packing tape or something over top of it to really adhere it. My thing is that I'm not sure if I'm going to love this. So what I think I'm going to do, because I don't go and access it a ton, is I'm just going to leave them on just with the repositionable tape for now. And what I will end up doing then is, if I find they're not sticking, I will use packing tape at that point in time. Hopefully that makes sense. I bought these off of Amazon, and they did suggest that you use a ballpoint pen for writing on these, so that's what I will do. I will probably also put the name and manufacturer on here in addition to the number, just because I think this might be a little bit easier to read than the labeling thing that I have on there right now. So I'm just going to show you this up close on one of the envelopes so you can see what I'm talking about. These are a job ticket holders, and they're longer than 8.5 by 11, but I do trim them to be just about where the top of the pocket fits. So there's normally an extra piece of plastic here with a hole on it. I trimmed that off. As you can see, I've got the label, and I had the label on both sides just in case I, you know, didn't know which way I was going to put it in. Obviously that will change once I will add the tab. I'm not sure if it makes a difference if it's on the front or the back, but I think I'm going to go for the front. The tag's on pretty good. Like, I'm tugging on it pretty good. I mean, I could probably even hold it. So it seems to be pretty good. We'll see. Time will tell. I'm just going to align the top of the color with the edge of the ticket holder. And like I said, I'm going to put the name and then the numbering system here. And like I said, I'm going to put them in the same order that they are on the rings. And I think that is it for that. I still have to go through all this cardstock. Some of it is solid, some of it is specialty paper. Anything that's solid will likely go into a pocket that I call other pinks, other reds, other purples, that kind of thing, where I don't necessarily have a manufacturer or that I have a bulk amount of any
of that particular color. And that seems to work out well. And I just put that at the front of my color section. So if none of these colors work, I know I can go to the front of the color section and find the other papers that I have there. Anything that is specialty, I'm going to hold off for right now. And then the other thing is I have to add all those papers to my new little divider. So I still have a ton of work ahead of me. I better get going. So as you can see, all my cardstock has been labeled. Is it perfect? Don't think so. Is it better than it was? Definitely. I will be able to find the specific colors I want much more easily, so that's good. And the only thing I haven't tackled yet are the specialty papers, but I'm going to leave that for a different episode because, to be honest, I don't know how I'm going to handle them. A lot of them are very fragile, and I need a better protective solution than just these pockets. Plus, a lot of them I got from Tonic Studios, and the paper is a little bit longer. It's not the standard letter size paper that you get here in the US. So I don't know, I'm thinking about it. So stay tuned for that. My little organizer, I'm really pleased with how this has turned out. I have added a plastic laminated sheet underneath so I can kind of pull out the paper if I need to, and that's how I labeled, and I just staggered so I can see what's going on. This pocket here has Stampendous Mixed Media White, but I also put the basil in here, and because of the way the basil is branded, it actually stands out separate, and I only have a few sheets of that, so I didn't want to put it in a separate pocket. The last two shelves here, I have Georgia Pacific and some Crafter's Companion Spectrum Noir cardstock. I didn't label these because I'm not going to be repurchasing these. One, the Georgia Pacific is great, but you can't buy it. At least I haven't been able to find it. It used to be stocked at Walmart. And the Spectrum Noir is okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not as good as some of the other options that I have. So I had mentioned using these pockets, which you can see they're empty. So they will be used for something else. Right now, that is just not going to be, that's just not going to work for me. So that's it for my 8.5 by 11. Other than the specialty cardstock, I will be back with another video soon, hopefully. These organization videos take a little bit of time, so sometimes it's hard to get them out on a weekly basis. You know, it just depends on how it all works. Thanks again for joining me. I hope this inspires you to maybe revisit an organization system that you have and tweak it a little to make it work better for you. Thanks again, and until next time, happy crafting and happy organizing.